Hi, Mom. Yeah, Mom, I'm in the middle of shooting a video for my community. You know, my YouTube channel? Yeah. Yeah, that look, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got it. Hmm. How was my day, Mama? My day was fine, Mama. I worked, I did what I did, took care of the kids, and now I got a little time. I'm gonna go ahead and record my. What's my topic, Mama? I'm Doctor Who. This video I'm talking about Doctor Who. Uh, yeah, yeah, it's been on for long. Okay, Mama. Yeah, I'm talking about fighting a man. Okay, I'm gonna let you. All right. Oh, I gotta go. I gotta take that. Okay. Bye bye. Love you too, Mama. Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steve New from the Ville. Welcome back. I'm talking about the powerful and sometimes terrifying feeling of fighting for a cause. We've all seen corporate giants and unjust systems that seem too big to fail. But what happens when you're fighting a cause that you believe in so deeply that you cross a line? When does your noble purpose become a destructive act? I'm taking a media therapy deep dive into Doctor Who, Season 11, Episode 7, Kerblam. This episode, set in a massive intergalactic online retailer, not unlike Amazon, initially feels like a classic evil corporation story. But we'll explore the shocking twist that turns the trope on its head, revealing a nuanced truth about who the real villain is. I'll analyze the misguided and ultimately destructive pursuit of a just cause and what it teaches us about the crucial difference between fighting for what's right and fighting in a way that is right. So you can challenge your assumptions about heroes and villains and discover a new perspective on corporate power and the true meaning of fighting for a cause. Let me tell you a little story. When I was teaching, and I don't remember what year this was that I was teaching, but I was a young man teaching middle school math. And the other math teacher, she was much older. Yeah, let's go with older, because wiser doesn't fit, mature doesn't fit. She was an old ass Karen, and she couldn't stand my young, black, idealistic ass. I remember on the first day she tried to tell me all I need to do was follow her lead and not make her look bad, because she'd been doing this for a long time and she had the worksheets already printed out for the year and she knew how to deal with these little heathens. You know what that's like when you get first impressions from someone and everything they say immediately just rubs you the wrong way, like gives you the ick. Like, I was like, if you don't get the hell away from me, worksheets. Who the hell does worksheets? You want to collect a paycheck. You want to sit your fat ass at your desk and give the kids worksheets, give them busy work, and not actually teach them. Now, yes, I was young, idealistic, and I thought that me being me, I can reach the kids. And I was right, but I was wrong. Not where she came, though. Like, she was hella wrong. She was such an awful teacher, and I don't want to disparage another teacher, but she actually said out of her mouth that she didn't know why she was teacher, because she couldn't stand kids. The most perplexing shit I've ever heard from a teacher, but she's not alone. There's a bunch of people that think that teaching is the easy route, and all you do is collect a paycheck and you have your weekends and your summers and your holidays off. Anybody can babysit. And that's the problem with people say, those who can do, those who can't teach. You're full of shit. Because however you got here, whatever you got to doing, someone taught you. Now, you may have called it something different. You may have called it a coach. You may have called it a mentor. You may have called it an advisor, but somebody taught you the ropes. Even if you're in just a school of hard knocks, somebody is teaching you. And real talk, your first teachers should be your parents, whether singular or both. Those should be the first people to teach you any damn thing. But I digress. This woman was so despised by her students. I remember I was at lunch and I went to go talk to another teacher, and I came back and I saw security running down the hallway, the principal's running down the hallway, my team leader at the time, she was a young teacher, and she's like, I need you to come with me. And I was like, what, is there a fight? Because usually if there was a fight, they came and got me to break it up, because I was the only one that I ain't play that shit. I ain't never had a fight in my classroom, and I didn't play that. But it wasn't that. We all ran to the library in the middle of the school. And it so happens that there was 2 classes, about 60 plus kids, and a full-on picket line in the library, marching in a line around the library with picket signs and everything. Like some of the professional signs were like the metal pole and a pop-up whiteboard that you do with markers, some with a ruler and a poster board. And they had planned, the kids had taken upon themselves to plan a boycott of this woman's class. Hell no, we won't go. It's the funniest shit I ever saw. I know I'm not one of the kids, I'm an adult, I'm supposed to, present the figure of authority and not laugh, but this shit was hilarious. She was so loved by the students that, as she tried to tell me, they preferred my class because I let them do whatever, even though my students' grades were better, their output on their work was better, my test scores were better, but none of that could have been real. It must have been I was cheating because I just got here. I didn't know what I was doing. She'd been doing this for a long time. And I was like, and no one in your class ever progresses. They never get better. They leave your class and are dumber than when they came in. Anyway, the principal was pissed. Full-on insurrection, a riot, students exercising their rights, boycotting this class. We will not go. The problem was this principal could only do so much because the students' parents knew all about it and helped it. Who do you think put those signs and stuff together and bought those professional signs? The parents. And they were sitting outside and they was like, yes, we came up here and brought these kids we sick of this shit. We sick of her ass. Y'all don't do anything about her. We've been complaining about her for years. Tired of it. My older kids had to go through her class, and it was the worst class they had in all of their school. Nope, not anymore. Needless to say, she barely made it through that year and transferred to the elementary next door to F up some new kids' lives. Poor babies. Let's get into it. Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steve, new from the Ville, and I'm here to talk about Doctor Who, Season 11, Episode 7, Kerblam. Now, if you've been rocking with me for a while, then you know I don't want to do a long recap. I'm not doing that anymore. So we're going to get into the intro, the welcome, my little story, quick, juicy tidbits like I'm giving you right now, the quotes, and then my personal thoughts on the story. We'll do like slight recap as we go, and then we're out of here. Now make sure to like, to share, to comment, and most definitely subscribe. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I love my quotes, and I only have one today. And my one quote is from the Louisville Lip himself, the hometown legend, Muhammad Ali. And he says, "You lose nothing when fighting for a cause. In my mind, the losers are those who don't have a cause that they care enough about." And I'm gonna call this media therapy deep dive For the Cause. Now, in this particular episode, the Doctor and the companions are on the TARDIS, and a delivery man shows up on the TARDIS while the TARDIS is traveling, and it is from a company called Kerblam. Now, it's very easy to associate this company with a certain other real-world company, and I'm not going to say that they rhyme with Manazon, but you get my drift. Now, the Doctor's perplexed at how they're able to deliver this package to the TARDIS. The TARDIS usually has safeguards around this, but inside the package is simply a postcard. And once they decipher the postcard, it says, "Help me." So the Doctor's like, listen, I know we was on our way somewhere else, but I mean, what am I gonna do? Someone actually asked me point blank for help. Gotta go. So they show up at this corporation, and it's huge, gigantic facility. Like I said, very reminiscent of another very large online retailer package delivery service that you may be familiar with. When they get there, they find out that there are very few human employees, or some of the human employees have given up their life to come work at this place, and they work very long shifts, or very, they may work for a year or two to fulfill a contract to get paid, send the money back to their family, and they work through this to make this real money and go back to their family. And most of the supervisors and things like that to keep the company running are actually automated robots. The problem is the robots seem to be malfunctioning, and many of the humans have been going missing for months. The Doctor and the companions go in disguise as new employees in order to get a lay of the land and figure out how things are working or why people are going missing. And they meet managers Judy Maddox and Jarvis Slade. Now Slade has got like a pinstripe suit on, and he just looks ridiculous. And at first, both of them are so shady. You're like, oh, they in on it. You know that these people are guilty. And they are guilty of being maybe a little oblivious. Things are definitely happening, but it's happening underneath their noses. Slade says that he noticed that people are going. He's trying to figure it out, but he's not having much success. Judy Maddox says she didn't know anything was going on, but she feels horrible because these people were under her care. She is what she says is the people person, which is basically a fancy schmancy or low budget way to say HR. They also meet a couple other people in their travels. They meet a guy named Dan, who's actually the poster boy, the company's poster boy. He's on the advertisements. They meet Kira. She works on the dispatch team, so she works on making sure that the packages get to where they're supposed to go. And then they meet Charlie, who is a member of maintenance. Now Charlie is crazy about Kira, but he never pushes his moment to speak to her. Now Yaz is with Dan when he goes missing, and he's abducted by the teammates, who are the names for the robots. She freaks out. She goes to tell the Doctor and Graham and Ryan. Graham has been stuck in maintenance, so he's working with Charlie. They see Charlie at a company picnic, and Charlie sees Kira, and he doesn't get up the courage to go say hello to her. But after Dan goes missing, everyone's on high alert, and they're trying to figure out, is it Slade? We need to break into Slade's office. Is it Judy? Is it Maddox? We need to break in. We need to figure out which one of them is responsible and get them. Come to find out, the Doctor finds an early version of the teammates. One of the robots is on display in the lobby, and she finds out from it that it was the AI itself that sent the distress call. The AI says something is wrong. They are unfortunate. The teammates take Kira hostage and put her in a room and give her a package, and she opens the package and the package explodes. And they're like, who is doing this? and they are heartbroken. Charlie is heartbroken, but that causes something in Charlie to snap. And lo and behold, we come to find out that Charlie is the villain. He didn't plan for Kira to die, but once she did, he didn't have anything left to live for, and that accelerated his plans. He was attacking the company because with the number of teammates, it was making human workforces irrelevant. And he said there were so many people in the world starving and hungry and out of work, and they keep being replaced by robots and AI, that he was going to teach them a lesson. However, he had hacked into the system, and the actual bombs were the bubble wrap that was in every package. And because they had some sort of teleportation device that got all the teammates with the packages everywhere all at once, he was sending the packages to everyone, everywhere, all at once, and he was going to kill billions. So ask me, how does that make sense? If the very people that you proclaim to be fighting for, you send them a bomb from the company to kill them so they lose faith in the company, but you've killed billions to get more people to work? Where does that make sense? In the end, Charlie ended up being a victim of his own hubris, and he ended up exploding. They figured out a way to stop the teleportation, and all the devices exploded at once, killing Charlie and all the teammates who held packages. As this episode subverts, it shows you that Kerblam subverts the traditional evil corporation narrative by presenting a sympathetic cause, fighting against automatons and for human jobs, which is something that we can all relate to. But it's fatally betrayed by a real-life human villain using destructive methods, and he's willing to sacrifice lives to make his point. You know, there was an episode a few episodes back where I said, which is more important? Is it winning the race, or is it how you win the race? So again, I ask, is fighting for the cause more important than how you fight for the cause? You can question, do the ends truly justify the means? Now, Charlie's motivation is understandable, it's relatable, and it makes us, the audience, actually inclined to side with him. Very much the same as many of us, at least in my community, sided in a way with Killmonger. You may not have liked the methods, but you understood the why. Charlie betrayed the cause, betrayed it with the methods that he chose to use. He chose a destructive route. And again, history teaches us, you can look back at things like Malcolm X versus Martin Luther King, and there is a valid, just argument for both sides. Because if you remember, the people who chose peace, the ones who chose sit-ins and marches, were the ones who were attacked with dogs and hoses, simply for the color of their skin. Now, I don't know about you, and it's easy to be like, well, you know, what is that they say these days? You should just comply. But what if you are complying and still the person at the other end has no sense of your humanity, has no moral integrity, and they choose to exact violence upon you? Should you not fight back? That's a real question. Should you not fight back? Because here's the thing. If you tell us that we should not fight back, then that rule should go across the board. There should not be exceptions to that rule. You should not fight back unless you're not of a darker hue than if you're of one of those lighter, pale, Germanic European hues, then you can fight back and cuss out the police and do whatever it is that you like. But if you're one of the darker hued people on the earth, then you should comply and know your place. Miss me with that bullshit. I do want people to see that Charlie's act is an act of terrorism. You can side with him all you want that he chose the company, but what he chose to do as his plan, to kill millions, billions of people, to rally against the evil corporation, no, it's his ass. At the end of the episode, the doctor talked to Julie Maddox and the AI that was running the company and got them to hire more people to relax some of their practices about the AI and the teammates and put safeguards in place so something like this didn't happen again. Sometimes there is another way. You know, the thing is, the doctor didn't side with the corporation. She didn't side with the villain. She worked with the system's AI to stop the attack and find a non-violent, more effective solution. But that can't happen when you have mob mentality, like we saw in the last episode, Demons of the Punjab. That can't happen when you have people who are not willing to think through a problem in order to find a better solution. Sometimes the first solution is not always the best solution. The true lesson in this episode was that even the most noble of causes can be corrupted and ultimately defeated if the method of the fight is not just. This is Rakai Steed, new from the Ville. Make sure that you share this with everyone that you possibly can. Hit the like button, it's real easy, it's down the corner. Hit the like button. Make sure to leave me some comments what you thought about this episode and how that relates to a lot of the situations we're seeing in real life. Even if it's just against these big corporations who don't treat their employees right, the use of AI, robots, there's a lot of things that can be talked about in this episode. Did Doctor Who handle this right? I don't know. This episode came out 2019, 2020, so maybe not. And if for some reason you haven't subscribed, make sure that you hit the button. Subscribe. Watch all the videos and you'll find something that resonates with you. I know you will. At the end of the day, everything we do is about this, but it's even better if you make sure you use this. And just for the record, yes, I realize the irony that I'm talking about the evil corporation and wearing a Darth Vader shirt, the poster boy for the evil empire. I get it. That absolutely is ironic.